You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man, well, he's hard to find. Welcome to the One More for the Good Guys podcast, where good guys gather to shed light on the good life, the people, and the good things that make it that way. I'm Mike McGill with my co-host, Jamie Akins. Now, raise your glass, lend us your ear, and let's have one more for the good guys. You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man. Well, he's hard. Hey, everybody, McGill here, along with
Jamie.
One more for the good guys. Thanks for everybody for coming back again this week, sticking around, all that good stuff. We really appreciate the growing support that we see each week as we do more podcasts. We also want to thank everybody for the growing support on the Facebook, Instagram, YouTube pages, TikTok now. Jamie's got us on TikTok. I still don't know nothing about none of it.
I don't know nothing about it either.
I try to help create some content and some interesting stuff. So, all that being said, be sure to check out our social media pages as well as the YouTube page. And we also ask you again for your continued support. Share us with a friend, like, comment, subscribe, write us some questions, give us some show ideas. All the feedback's welcome. If it's something we feel like that we want to do or address, we will, and we'll talk to you about it. And if not, then you're out of luck. We won't.
See ya.
So other than that, again, welcome back. We're going to have a little bit of a special show this week. As you all can tell, it's coming in at a completely different time and a completely different day, but we're excited about all this stuff. We're coming up on a year, so we're looking at that year's schedule to try to, try some new things. We're working out, so you guys can work out with us. What are you smoking, Jamie?
Well, we're not physically working out.
No.
We're just...
please.
Yeah. I am smoking this Punch Classico.
Yeah.
That you gave me. And
very much a good value stick.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now. You can get this is in the London Club size, which is a 5-inch by 40 ring gauge. So it's pretty thin cigar. And Connecticut broadleaf, Ecuadorian Sumatra, both wrapper. Are they combining tobacco for wrappers here?
I have no idea.
Anyway, yeah. So we'll the verdict is out.
Well, Punch is a
jury's still out.
A long time. It's definitely a legacy brand, one that's been around forever. Even now at this point in time, they're certainly regarded as a bargain stick. So I picked up a box of those. I think they come in boxes of 25, if I'm remembering correctly, and they're really, really affordable. I mean, and listen, here we're getting ready. As soon as we get out of the summer, we're going to be coming into the fall and into the winter. You're going to have a little bit more humidification for your humidors, but one of the key things to keeping good humidification levels in your humidors is you need cigars in there. So there's nothing wrong with buying maybe cigars that maybe they're not completely your cup of tea, but they're box worthy as far as prices go. They're giveaway cigars, but they're going to help that RH level in your humidors. So, anytime you drop down below half of what the recommended count for your humidors are, you're going to start playing the yo-yo game with your humidification. So
that's right.
For nothing else, they're great little giveaways. They're great yard cigars. They're great mowing. They're great lunch times. If you just want to
Well, and per what you said,
take a
they're
quick
great
break.
for cold weather.
Yeah,
Because,
exactly.
you don't want to take a Toro outside when it's 32 degrees. I mean, I might want to do that, but you'll probably not want to do that. And, this is probably, I don't know, it's probably an hour. Given that it's 5, it's going to be about an hour. I'll smoke it slow. And I did clear up what I said earlier. Apparently, this thing's all over the place. Honduran, Dominican, and Nicaraguan filler in this.
Yeah.
And then your choice of Connecticut broadleaf, which is labeled as Maduro, or an Ecuadorian Sumatra.
I believe
wrapper.
these are Sumatra.
And
wrappers.
these are the Sumatra ones. So far, so good. One of the best draws on a cigar that I've ever had. And that for me, and we kind of different opinion on here, but I used to only smoke big ring gauge because I felt like that the draw was more apt to be to my liking. But as I learned more about it, it's really all about how they roll it, really.
Yeah.
And whatever. So anyway.
And remembering, we're talking about a premium handmade product on each one of these things.
Correct. Human error factor.
There is a little bit of that, but not much. But
and not every piece of tobacco is the same. You could have so.
Just real quick, I just want to say this about Punch real quick. One of our favorite cigars is the Punch Diablo.
Oh, yeah.
In the Toro size, or what they refer to as a
That's
scant.
the devil. Punch the devil.
Yeah. But a really good cigar. And there's another one that I had, somebody gave me one time. It was a Corojo wrapper, which you guys know I love the Corojo wrap cigars. But I believe it was, I'll look through my notes. I'll tell you what it was. It was either a Knuckle Buster or it was, I can't think of it right off the top of my head, but good value sticks. If you're somebody who wants to smoke a lot, and or don't have the budget to go out and spend all this money on, you can find stuff in the Punch line that's going to be affordable, and they're going to be a quality stick. And they get overlooked, being a big legacy brand. They get overlooked a lot. So.
Yeah, because of that's correct. Last thing on Punch is it's one of the brands that I have never had a bad smoke out of, ever. So what are you smoking?
I am smoking. I have been wanting to smoke this for a long, long time. This is Warped Cigars. This is a Robusto size. It's a 5x50. It's called a Cloud Hopper. This was a limited edition cigar. I think it got number 11, I believe, if I remember correctly. In 2021, it got number 11 on Cigar Aficionado Cigars of the Year. Warped, I love the Warped Chinchale in the Robusto size. It's a powerful little cigar,
but you had just recently had, right?
I had, and I actually one of the quotes on our Instagram page from Good Guys Cigars says it's one of the best first thirds I've ever had on a cigar,
which is a lot.
It's a lot of cigars,
even this year. Really,
yeah. But big fans of the Warped in the Chinchale. I had heard lots of good things about this. Cloud Hopper. This was a joint collaboration. This is made out of all Aganorsa leaf tobacco. It's a Corojo wrapper, Nicaraguan Puro, and all the tobacco comes from Aganorsa leaf. And it's a very nutty cigar. It's got those classic Corojo traits, that zing. There's some creaminess. It's nutty right now.
It's got a gorgeous color to it too, don't it? It's like that wrapper is just.
Yeah, it's not quite a rosado, so it don't have that red hue to it, but really very simple, understated band. As we go along, we'll come back to it, but I've been wanting to have one of these for a while, and in one of my Cigar of the Month clubs, lo and behold, I got one. And I was like, "Oh man, I'm really excited!"
Ask and you shall receive.
I've had this one in my humidor for about a month, trying to get it. What am I trying to say? Acclimated. That's right.
We need to do a video on that, on both of those topics, humidity level.
Yeah.
And because there's a lot of things that you really can't find out there, and it's a trial and error thing. And because everybody lives in different spots, so what may work for somebody in Florida is not going to work for you.
No.
So trading information is hard on something like that, humidity level. And then
and humidity level, just to add real quick, can be one of those things that can absolutely drive you bonkers if you let it. There's parameters in there not to take it. So you don't have to say, if it changes 3% overnight, your shit ain't going to be ruined. Okay. And some people can really drive themselves crazy with
I did
chasing the humidity.
I did that for a long time. I thought, oh man, if it gets off by one point, then they're ruined. And let me tell you, that's not true. Okay. And also humidity level, for the most part, within reason, is more of a personal preference situation than it is it's got to be 70.
Yeah.
Forget that
that's
stuff.
That's just a standard rule that hopefully the masses would take. I heard Steve Saka talk about this one time. That was a broad blanket statement thing that was put out for the masses so they wouldn't ruin their cigars.
Right. And you know what?
In my opinion, 70's way too much.
Yeah, me too. And I've learned that from you because I like them a little drier. Like 65 is about 66, somewhere in there.
I like them at 65. I've even went as low as like 62 on certain things, and I like it just as well. So it's a personal. You said it right.
We should talk about humidity level in an episode, and then we'll come back to that. So
for sure.
Anyway, I'm actually smoking 2 cigars. I had one left over. So.
Well, again, we were saying at the top of the show that, we're coming at you on a completely new day that you're seeing this. And one of the reasons why is it's college football season, and we finally worked ourselves into an area with stuff that we had pre-recorded and guests that we had on. We were finally got to that point to where we can now keep up with our beloved Tennessee Vols and the NCAA football season. Along with this being our first year, we're going to have a 12-team playoff. So a lot of exciting things, and we're going to start trying to give you basically our Tennessee's going to be our game of the week, and we're going to try to give you our picks on that. Why we feel that way. We're not we're procrastinators, but not prognosticators. if anybody remembers the old Leonard's Losers, Percy prognosticate. But at any rate, we're going to try to start doing some of that and switching things up, just giving a little bit of extra content. It's something we love to talk about, and we've talked about sports, cigars, movies, music, guests, all this time anyway. So we thought it would be coming up close to the 1 year mark. This would be a good a time as any to start trying a few new things. So,
well, and two, we've talked about this a lot. Is that I don't think there's ever been more. It's got a hot fly. It's out pretty far. The interest in Tennessee sports is probably at an all-time high.
Across the board.
A lot has to do with that baseball team.
Absolutely.
And the visibility of the basketball team. And of course, Pat's legacy with the basketball team and the women's basketball. Now softball is one of the top, so it's interesting again for me, given my long rocky relationship with the University of Tennessee Volunteers. And actually, winning is contagious. So
very contagious.
I didn't jump on the bandwagon. I jumped back on the bandwagon.
And getting back to the baseball team and with the basketball team and everything, let's not forget that, NIL's not brand new, but it's still relatively new. And if anybody has any if anyone could talk positive about NIL, it would certainly be the University of Tennessee. I mean, and transfer portal stuff, because our baseball team, Vitello, has been monumental in finding talent from other places.
Winning is contagious. Yeah.
And as well as with, we had probably one of the absolute best stories for transfer portal athletes in the world with Dalton Connect last year for the Tennessee, for the basketball team. So
he's going to be a star in the NBA too. Probably.
Absolutely. I remember, my first Vols game was 1977. I was 6 years old and we lost to Duke, So I've seen a lot of UT football, but that also was about all I seen for the longest time.
Certainly on TV.
Now you got the softball team and the lady, you had the football and then you had the Lady Vols with Pat and her historical run and historical years at UT. But you didn't hear much about, our age didn't. I never got to see Bernard King and Ernie Grunfeld play. No. People older than us would have, but I liken UT sports now versus then. We're very much like Dollywood, or we're very much like the city of Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg. It was a destination one time a year, and most of the time that was summertime. It was a 3-month season. It was a very seasonal place. Tennessee athletics has been very seasonal for the average sports fan, I would say. And now, we got some love with the Lady Vol softball program, Lady Vol basketball program, now the Tennessee men's program. So just like with Sevier County, now you've got events and destinations for people to get to and events to attend. Now it's Christmas. Oh, well, now we got fall.
That's right.
Now we got spring. Now we've even got a wintertime thing. So it's a 12-month a year destination. And I think UT Sports is finally a 12-month a year, relevant 12 months a year.
Yep.
And not just for the people who really follow it. It's for the average fan as well.
There's I think so too.
Something happening, some kind of news happening all the time.
And it's certainly the first time in my lifetime that's happening, because I don't, like I said, we knew about the basketball team. Bernard King and them were like before my memory, but like Dyron Nix and Tony White and that crowd.
Tony White, Dyron Nix, Lofton.
Yeah, little Chris Lofton, a little
Came
later.
But that's the guys we got to watch.
Right, yeah. So I think it's a great time for UT Sports. And
Hamer.
We were just talking about Hamer.
Talking about Steve.
How good he is on doing the broadcast, man. He's great in the booth. I was blown away, actually. All right, so
Ron Slay. Can't forget Sleigh Ride, man.
Yep.
The headband from hell.
Ron Slay. What's that big guy's name? Was it Roth?
Doug Roth.
Doug Roth, yeah.
Yeah. Big 7-footer in the middle, back when the big man played the post and not shooting threes like they are now.
Yeah. A little bit of post play going on in the NBA, though. We talked about that on the NBA with these Embiid at the guy at Philadelphia, and then, of course, the Joker.
The Joker, man.
So game of the week, Tennessee game of the week is Tennessee and Arkansas.
Yeah, the Arkansas, the Swine. I need to try to, I'm going to go back and try to, since we're doing this now, I'm going to go back and try to find some of those old Leonard's Losers and start kind of referring back to the nicknames that he had for, like, the the traveling pachyderm from Alabama and all that stuff. But yeah, this week's game is going to be tonight's game. It's going to be a big. I think TV's starting to really love the Vols too. I mean, this is going to be the third game that we're going to have on broadcast TV, national coverage on ABC, right?
Yeah, that's true. And something I noticed in some of the broadcasts, that some key figures that I would have said are traditionally anti-Vol have kind of gotten on board a little bit here,
I still think Paul Feinbaum, being a University of Tennessee graduate, needs to stop patting Alabama's ass so much and start bragging on us a little bit. I mean, hey, Paul, we are ranked number 4, right?
Right.
We could use a friendly word every now and then, but what else you got to do?
The other guy on Around the Horn is from went to UT too. Woody Page, didn't he go to University of Tennessee?
I think he did. I believe he did.
Yeah,
he writes in Colorado, but yes, I think he did go to UT.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to make our picks here with score predictions, right? And
I think the first thing we should do is, obviously we've addressed the game. Our game of the week is going to be Tennessee going to Arkansas to face the Razorbacks. What is your what say ye about the Vols?
Well,
and what's your pick?
This is obviously a must win for us. In my opinion, this is probably, you could still lose to Alabama and Georgia and make the playoff if you win out.
Yeah.
That's how important this game is. They're all important, going down there. I'm just hoping that, this is a huge game for us. And what we're going to talk about a little bit is about the biggest game, Arkansas Tennessee game in history. That's going to be a topic here in just a few moments. I just hope there's no football karma hanging around down there,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going with the Vols. I'm predicting that I think that we have the best passing quarterback in the country right now, as far as naturally throwing the ball. You might argue that Arch or his that was his name, Quinn Ewers.
Yeah.
Might be up there too. But I think from just being a redshirt freshman like our guy and throwing the ball away does. And Arkansas has a piss poor secondary pass defense. My score prediction is 31-6. I think we go down there and just dominate them.
All right. Well, I'm pretty close to what you're thinking. I think the fact that we've had a bye week, we've had 2 weeks to get rest, and Arkansas is now playing their 6th consecutive game in a row.
Right.
They've got some injuries. One of the things that always has worried Tennessee fans, as well as Tennessee analysts alike, has been a running quarterback.
Yes.
This kid can run, but as we were so happily, I was so happily welcomed back. That's not the right way to say it. I was so happy to hear Heupel in one of the press conferences say that this is the University of Tennessee where Reggie White played, Al Wilson played, Dale Carter played, Eric Berry played.
Right. Defense is the standard.
Defense is the standard. And we're getting ready to break down, as Jamie said, a little bit about the 98. We're going to do some history and then break down the 98 game, the really important game about the University of Arkansas and why 98 was so special to all Vol fans. And guess what carried us that whole 98 season? Defense.
And Jeff Hall.
Yes. Well, yes. But defense was, I mean, and we'll get into that. My pick, I think Arkansas has got to put everybody in the box and try I think there's only one game plan for them. They're going to try to stop the run and make Nico beat them.
They're going to rush. If they have any sense at all,
Nico and those receivers step up and beat them.
Yeah, that's correct.
And if that happens, and we're able to throw it over their head a few times and get them in between, it's going to be a really long day for Pig Suey Nation down there in Fayetteville. Pardon me. I'm picking the Vols 35-10. I think they're probably going to get a cheap score or a cheap touchdown or maybe something. But we got to hold the ball. We got to protect him, and we got to throw it over their head a few times and then open up that balance between run and pass. That's my prediction.
I heard on Sports Talk earlier, they're talking about Arkansas's got an end that is apparently a problem, a defensive end. And I think I'm going to look it up right now and see. I didn't catch it all, but the key to the game is protecting the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
If we Landon Jackson's this guy's name,
not turning the ball over. We twice. I mean, that score with the Oklahoma game was a lot closer than the game actually was. Of course, they scored right there towards the end, but we did something that most teams don't get the second chance and don't get the opportunity to win ball games when they do it.
Right.
Is turning the ball over off of pressure and off of sacks. So, we can get a few sacks here and there or something like that. I mean, they're going to win a few battles, but we can't turn the ball over.
No. As Arkansas found out in 1998.
Yes.
So that's the key to the game, protecting the quarterback. I think key players for us, besides Nico, our linebacking core, containing that quarterback. What's number 7's name?
For us?
Yeah, it reminds me of Deion Grant.
Oh gosh, you're putting me on the spot.
Anyway, linebacking core is key to this game on the defensive side, in my opinion. I don't think if we can put their quarterback and get him in the backfield a couple of times, that running around stuff's going to seem a lot less palatable, if you will, for him, because he gets pounded a couple of times and hit really good.
Oh, absolutely.
So that running quarterback, and that's going to give you a chance to win, lose, or draw, going to give us a chance to face a quarterback, a mobile quarterback, like we're going to have to with Alabama.
Arian Carter.
Yeah, Arian Carter. Right.
Sorry
linebacker.
About that. Yeah.
Number 7. Wasn't Deion Grant number 7 on the championship team?
7. Condridge Holloway was also number 7. A lot of number 7s in the history of, pardon me, in the Vols who wore number 7 history. I think that's that's definitely well said. And, I was watching, who was it? It was the Ravens and the Bills the other night, which was I'm not a Ravens fan by any means, but pretty fun game to watch. But they were showing how they were containing Josh Allen, who's obviously a very
mobile quarterback with a rocket arm.
Yeah.
Too.
And they were showing that as they would rush, the defensive ends would rush and get around the tackles, but then they would fall back, but where the pocket didn't collapse and basically kept a fence. So you would beat your guy to get to the quarterback, but then also they would just kind of stop and let that tackle go by them.
Right.
And now the pocket's he's still contained. So I'm wondering with, I think Ronnie Gardner is one of the absolute best defensive line coaches in the world, and I've thought that forever. So I'm anxious to see how he's going to coach that front four, and how Banks is going to, he likes to come from all different kinds of places and has a lot of stunts and a lot of different schemes. So it'll be should be a good game. I think Tennessee handles them though.
I think
we go down there and play like we're supposed to. We're going to beat anybody we want.
I think so too. I think that, that being said, I guess when I think about the best teams in the country, I think on any given day with the talent we have right now, that we're capable of beating anybody in the country. Do I think we're the best overall team? Not yet. I think that first half Alabama-Georgia game, Alabama's the best team in the country if they play like that. But you can say that about 5 or 6 teams. Hey, if they play like this, but a half of football against, Kirby Smart, and you basically look like the 49ers,
Right.
So, and I tell you what, I looked up his speed. That, what's the kid's name? Milroe, or quarterback at Alabama. I thought he was the fastest person I've ever seen for a couple of plays there. He was just, and then the second half is almost like they'd pulled his muscle or something. He just lost a gear. But
I seen an interesting thing today when I got in from work right before we started setting everything up for our deal here today was so evidently a scout who has been one of Dan Patrick's guys for a long, long time was and he said, we always trade texts, and he'll tell me, hey, get ahead of this and start talking about this guy. He's going to be a standout and blah, blah, blah. He said, but this time he called me.
Wow.
And was like, this matches up much more than a text or anything like that. So he said that he told Dan, he said, right now versus where he's at in his college career, he is a better throwing Lamar Jackson.
About Nico.
No, about Milrose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That he was he threw the ball better, but he was that level and that type of QB right now. In collegiate ranks. He's not saying.
Well, Lamar Jackson won the Heisman.
Yeah.
Right, at Louisville.
At Louisville, of all places. Yeah.
So, that's he's got that kind of talent. I told my brother, we were talking about it after the Alabama-Georgia game, and I was saying, I said, I'm going to call it right now. Now I'll do it on the air. I think that guy wins the Heisman.
Well, you sent me that text.
I think he wins the Heisman.
I think Nico, getting to UT, I think Nico is got as much talent as anybody, but don't drink too much of that damn Big Orange Kool-Aid, because you'll get disappointed when you do that. But Nico's got to win a game. Now you say, Mike, they've won every game he started. Yes, they have, but Nico hadn't won the game. He maybe did against Iowa, but that's freaking Iowa.
But it was the margin. Yeah.
What I'm saying?
Correct. Right. This is not.
Well, Mike, they had the best defense in the Big Ten again. They also had a punter who made Sports Center for 12 straight weeks. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think this is the game that Nico and the wide receivers have to win this ball game. They got to step up, and I think it's their time to show out. And I think they can.
Well, it's their last chance to show out too, because the next is Alabama in the next game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so no bye week between there. You got to play Alabama next week. So, I know that Heupel is going to hold some stuff back if he can. But I also like the approach is like, look, we're going to throw everything we got at Arkansas and Alabama. This is what we got when we show up.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Or when you show up, because it's here, right?
Yeah. So, just a little, to give you a little, we did a little bit of deep dive here. The history matchup between Tennessee and Arkansas is 17 times they've played since 1907. The Vols are 11-6 in those 17 times. When we've played them at home, we're 6-2. When we played them on the road, which has been some years it's been in Memphis, some years it's been in Little Rock, some of the years it's also been in Fayetteville, we're 5-4. But you also got to remember in some of those years,
they weren't in the SEC.
They weren't in the SEC. And, going way back in the day, Arkansas always was a powerhouse in the Southwest Conference. I mean, it was between them, Oklahoma, and Texas who's going to win, and there was a few years there that SMU, of course, had Eric Dickerson and Craig James, and evidently they owned a Pontiac Trans Am dealership too. But they did pretty good. But for the most part, when I think of the old Southwest Conference, I completely think Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas is right there with them. So our longest winning streak against them were 6 games. And that was from October of 93 through November of 98. And our longest losing streak was from November 2011 through November of 2020, which was just 3 games. But 3 good reasons we probably lost those. And that was Dooley, Pruitt, and Jones. Dooley, Jones, and Pruitt. That's probably why that
so we've only played 17 times?
17 times. That was since 1907. That was how far
so
it goes back.
Most of that's been while they've been in the SEC then.
Pretty much.
Because we play them about every other year, don't we?
It was, let's see here. The first game was, I got it written down somewhere if I can find it. First game was November 18th, 1907. Yes. And we started really playing them 92, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2000. We played them from 92 through 2002 every year. And then 2006, 7, 11, 15, and now 20.
Yeah, so basically we only played once or twice before they got in the SEC.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Because last time I looked, Tennessee touched Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite Sling Blade lines, I reckon one of them's from Arkansas. So.
Oh, I get it. That's what she said.
Yeah.
That's what she was making in biscuits.
Movie. Yeah.
I'll take mustard, don't mind.
Yeah. Hey, 3 fellers standing on a bridge. I reckon one of them's from Arkansas. But
she said, I've heard that one.
But I guess the most notable game that I can ever remember, and that most Vol fans can remember, and that's gone down in history to remember, is the 98 season when we actually won the national championship. We went undefeated. There was a lot of things happened that year.
Miracle.
That were miracles.
Absolute freaking miracle.
An overtime win in Syracuse. where the Carrier Dome just didn't have any air conditioning.
And everybody was
They were
getting so
dropping
many
like
cramps
flies with dehydration long before liquid IV or any of that stuff.
against Donovan McNabb.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Donovan McNabb was and Harrison was the receiver. Yeah. So,
Jeff Hall won that game.
Yes, in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
T. Martin had a big play on a 50-yard scramble on a 3rd and 10.
Yep.
And then had another big play, a big long scramble on a 3rd and long, we'll say, to win that one. But we finally got to the Arkansas game and basically finishing undefeated. Besides going to the championship game that year, we had Arkansas, Kentucky, and Vandy in our way. We had to win those 3 to go.
That's right.
11-0 and get to the SEC championship game, win the East, and all that stuff. And 98 was a crazy year all the way around. You lose Peyton in 97. They go SEC champs
With hopes of a national championship that year.
Big hopes.
Yeah.
That was, I think, we had more talent. We had more talent though on the 98 team,
especially on defensive
overall.
Side. Yeah.
And especially on the defensive side of the ball. To the 6 players, the Vols lost NFL draft picks, Andy McCullough, Corey Gaines, co-captive, defensive tackle, who was one of my absolute favorite all-time balls, Bill Duff.
Mm-hmm.
I can still remember the call in the Citrus Bowl when we stopped Eddie George on the sideline. Duff with the stuff. He didn't make it. Duff with the stuff. And we lost a great safety we had and a future NFL player as well, that Torrey Noel. And back then you had to have really big recruiting classes. Fulmer obviously had some huge recruiting classes.
Sure. Peyton Manning being one of them.
And that year was the most talented, so people say, in UT history, with 17 members making NFL rosters off of that 98 Tennessee team. So
4 of them made prison sale too.
Yeah, well, we're talking about highlights here, Timmy. God damn it, we ain't talking about the fucking.
I mean, we're just talking about the odds of it.
See how he is.
All 4 of those were one of the 17 made NFL.
Yes. And I don't even know where to fucking segue now. But losing Manning, we got T. Martin in place, and a lot of people, really think that was a downgrade, and on paper it was. But guess what? T. Martin was a winner.
Yep.
And that's all there is to it.
Not that Peyton wasn't a winner, but I mean, and T played great. He broke a record for most consecutive pass completions that year.
We had Spencer Riley on the offensive line with Jarvis Redo. Linebackers were also hit with the loss of Leonard Little, one of those. But those were clear drop offs. But we had Peerless Price replaced Marcus Nash, and who would have thought he would have been as great as he was? I mean, because Marcus Nash was a pretty damn good receiver. Wilson replaced McCullough. Duff or Brown both departed on the defensive line. Replacing them were Darwin Walker.
Who made the NFL.
9-year career there.
Sean Ellis.
They
made the NFL.
Let
me, not to interrupt you, but there is a fantastic video of Sean Ellis in a road rage incident.
Oh, God.
Knocking this dude out. He wasn't the aggressor He was the
Right.
finisher.
Oh, well,
And
that makes sense.
anyway, Sean Ellis played at the Jets. Had a great career.
Yeah. And then in the secondary, you had Fair Noel, Gain Johnson, Fred White, Deion Grant. I mean, that's some, again, 17 starters off that 98 squad, off that 98 roster made the NFL. Not just made the NFL, but had careers in the NFL.
I mean, yeah, boy.
So that was
Who do you think had the best career out of that bunch? NFL career.
Wow.
Grab that question out of thin air right there. Right?
Well, you know, I don't. Maybe like Fred White.
Al
He played
Wilson.
12 years. Al Wilson won a Super Bowl.
And was
Yeah.
Pro Bowler. I mean, he was
Pro Bowler.
played it once. He only played for Denver, I think.
Yeah, I'd say that one would be pretty well. And hey, guess who else you had that made the pros and had a pretty damn good Jamal Lewis.
Yeah, who was hurt.
Who got hurt the fourth game of the year.
Yeah.
Out for the season.
After getting hurt, tearing an ACL earlier in his career.
So
first man after
Travis Henry.
the Juice that got 2,000 yards.
Travis Henry filled in for him, who was a Pro Bowler in the NFL with an NFL career.
And at the fertility clinic, too.
And, you know, this guy wasn't on that team, but you remember, you know, a Vol that I forgot that had a hell of an NFL career at running back, Charlie Garner.
Oh, yeah.
Played with the Raiders. He was in that Tuck Rule game. He'll play with the 49ers. I mean, hell of a running back. Had a heck of a career.
And I don't know if I think this now, but when Charlie Garner was playing at UT and when he went to maybe I watched him mostly with 49ers. Anyway, he was the quickest person from the backfield to the line I'd ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
He was just there.
And that's coming off of Keith Davis, Reggie Cobb, Chuck Webb. I mean, no slouches.
You know, I mean every scene, period.
Yeah.
Pro too.
Yeah.
He was just from there to there. It's like, man.
Yeah. Yeah, he was very quick.
Man, that was a good night. Charlie, I haven't thought of him.
I thought of him today as I was trying to think about some of the stuff we were going to talk about former Vols and stuff. But, 97, we just had a rougher schedule. I mean, that's all there is to it. We had to,
well, you didn't have a miracle either.
We had the Gators on the road
because
and we had Nebraska, who could have beat a team
the Steelers
with 11 Super Bowl winners on it. Yeah, could have beat the Steelers.
Best team I ever saw was that Nebraska team.
Boy, they were something else, man.
The one that beat Florida in the national championship.
Yes,
which I think was 96 or something.
Yeah,
golly.
And then we faced them in 97.
And just got
bamboo flim-flammed. No, we just got beat. We just got it. They were men and we were boys.
Yeah.
That's all there was to that. But, we didn't just win because of a no stars approach and all the different people that were filled in for, all the different people that we had left in 97. We touched on it. There was the miracle at Syracuse, the overtime win at Syracuse.
Miracle with Alabama.
Yeah.
That kick too.
And again, like you said, with
I'm sorry, Florida. Didn't mean to interrupt.
With Florida.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Jeff Hall. But, and that's something about this squad that I kind of liken back to, not saying national champions. I'm just saying liken back to a lot of things that Tennessee did really right for a long time. and that was our kicking game and our special teams department. You know, how many games did we watch Tennessee win with defense because we could flip the field 7 or 8 different times in a ball game?
Yep.
You know, and we had to play that kind of football to beat Oklahoma. And that was another very promising thing. You know, you and I have talked obviously since then about that ball game, and we were watching it together. Or no, I'm sorry. I was thinking NC State. Well, we're basically watching it together. We was on text back and forth all the time. But that's something with that Oklahoma game. We realized we couldn't keep them off of Nico. And Heupel was like, our defense is good enough. Our special teams is good enough. We're going to get within 30 to 40 yards. We can pick up threes. We can hold them, and we can beat them this way. And I thought that was a very, very grown-up
approach
and different approach, almost Belichick-esque.
Do what it takes to win.
Do what it takes to win that week against that opponent.
That's right.
And that gave me a lot of hope for this.
Me too.
Team.
Me too.
To see them be able to do that and not just go out and beat somebody 70-0 or 45-0,
but beat a top 25 team away, which hadn't happened much. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I agree. This team is put together as far as there's not really this major weakness. We're like, oh God, you know, our offense is great, but our defense kind of sucks. You know, every part, the 3 branches of football, if you will, are pretty sound, you know, and that, you know, the special teams, we've been traditionally that, I mean, especially from kicking standpoint, Fuad Revez, Carlos, all that crowd,
all the Colquitts.
Well, yeah. I mean, they talking about flipping the field. Yeah.
Yeah. You had, I don't know.
Leverton
every Colquitt since the fucking Gettysburg Address seems like made the NFL and Pro Bowls for teams forever, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that kid that was on that team made the NFL, Leverton.
Yeah.
And played a while. So, but, yeah, I feel like they're built that way. I feel like this team is.
They can do what it takes.
I don't expect them to go to Arkansas. I guess this is the best way I can put it, how I feel about this team. I don't expect this team to show up unprepared. Whereas before, in previous years, I felt like, oh God, we're going into this underprepared to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like the Georgia-Alabama game, just talking back to that, you know, and I know we can't stand either one of them, but you got to understand that Kirby Smart might be the best coach in the country now. And he went in at halftime.
Is he?
I don't know.
I'm not.
I don't know.
I'm just saying that because I do hate him.
Yeah, I hate him too. But he went in at halftime getting the dog snot beat out of him. And made adjustments and pulled a little Belichick and took the lead.
Yeah. It says here in my notes that, you know, we actually faced 2 Power 5 opponents in 1997. We also took on Texas Tech, who would finish 6-5. Their third opponent was the Southern Miss Golden Eagles, who would go 9-3, win Conference USA, and finish ranked number 19. Their other 2 non-conference opponents were Houston and UAB, who went 3-8 and 4-7. So if you're keeping score, that means Tennessee football faced 3 non-conference opponents with a winning record in 97, 2 in BCS conferences, 2 who finished in the top 25, and 1 who finished in the top 5. Meanwhile, in 98, we faced 1 non-conference opponent with a winning record, 1 in a BCS conference, 1 who finished in the top 25, and none in the top 5. So we had a little easier year that year, but it still took a lot of breaks. And the biggest break we were getting to is the 98 game.
I remember
against Arkansas.
The only thing I can think of that's happened in football since that I can compare to this is when the Seahawks threw that interception to the Patriots on the goal line.
Gosh, yeah.
That because we were beat, it was over. See, Arkansas was undefeated too, as well. Okay. Houston Nutt, right?
Yeah, it was his first year as head coach, and he had came in touting that they were going to beat everybody,
and they were.
And if Jesus showed up, they'd beat him too.
That's right. They were the first Arkansas team to go 8-0.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we were playing, just a typical SEC unranked opponent. This
we had a game with Florida, had 5 turnovers and won it. When do you have 5 turnovers and win a ball game?
Once.
Yeah.
That time. Well, this right here, Tennessee goes into this game ranked number 1. Arkansas's number 10. Right?
Yes.
And 8-0. You think you wait this season and see if there's an 8-0 team at that mark of the season, which is coming up, and see if they are not in the top 2. No chance in hell.
Yeah.
No way. So the 8-0 team's number 10.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And they've had to play Alabama already.
Yeah.
And won.
And a lot of people, Alabama they were just coming off of all that NCAA violation stuff. I mean, what a lot of people don't realize too is there's not another team in the country who's played Alabama more times than Tennessee, which means nobody in the NCAA history has ever beat Alabama as many times as the University of Tennessee.
That's right.
And there was years there we beat them every year like a drum, and a lot of Alabama fans don't want to remember the 90s or the 80s.
Well, Peyton Manning started that.
Yes.
Because the Alabama had our number till he showed up.
Yeah.
And then Florida got our number.
But anyway, we had a lot of experience. We had a lot of experience on that 98 team, and it was kind of they kind of approached it as a kind of a no-star, kind of like no-name defense of Miami, or
right.
Nobody was bigger than the team, and obviously that goes all the way back to your quarterback. But got really fortunate against Florida. But this game, the 98 game against the Razorbacks was. It was give and take. It was back and forth. It was flip the field. It was rainy.
It was before replay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Rainy conditions made the game less about the plays you made, but the mistakes that you committed. Tennessee made a lot of them. In the first half, Travis Stevens fumbled the ball. I believe that one went out of the end zone, and it was a safety or something.
Both teams lost 2 turnovers,
if
I recall. And
Stoner, Clint Stoner was their quarterback, and he had a few interceptions. And in the first quarter, Arkansas was up. They led us 7-0. Well into the first quarter, I think, we just decided that we were going to, we were just going to run the ball. We were going to pound the rock and make them stop us, And
we did.
With Stevens, and we did. Deion Grant had a big play to stop the Razorbacks on a scoring drive.
I always liked him. He was a stud, man.
Yeah.
He'd get after the ball.
Very much so. But it was without just reading everything word for word off of stat sheets and off the game line. In the second quarter, UT finally got on the board. A Jeff Hall field goal after he had missed one earlier in the game. It was 14-3 Arkansas,
which wasn't like him for this season.
Yeah, and then Stoner hits. Anthony
think it's
Lucas.
Sterner.
Sterner.
Yeah, Clint Sterner.
Stoner hit Anthony Lucas, wide receiver, down the sidelines again and was up 21-3. And we kept running the ball, Jermaine Copeland had a pretty big game. Was
Where's
another
his name?
pretty good receiver for us.
Forgotten that name.
And I think we went in at the half 21-10. Still down, and then they come out in third quarter, go up 24-10. We get another touchdown with Travis Henry, 24-17. Hall kicks another field goal, 24-20. And, this is still 7-8 minutes left. Possessions go back and forth. No offense can take advantage. With 3 minutes left in the game, Arkansas is forced to punt. The snap is high. The ball is kicked out of the back. That's the one I was thinking about. Ball's hiked out of the end zone. We get a safety, so it's 24-22. Now field goal can win it. Arkansas gets the ball back. Let's see here. Price returned a kickoff against Alabama 100 yards earlier that season. Remember that?
Yep.
This time with time running out, he finds a hole, gets the ball to midfield. A few more first down, the Vols can win the game off of Jeff Hall. Showed time and time again in 98 that he could do that. But they didn't get a chance. 4th and 9 with 1:59 to go. Martin throws to Price. Arkansas makes a good play on the ball, and the pass falls incomplete.
Turnover on downs.
Yep. Turnover on downs. Midfield. All Arkansas has to do is run out the final 154 of the game.
It's over.
To remain
right.
undefeated.
It's over.
And we were ranked number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, that's right.
Going into that
we
game
were 1
as well.
And they were number 10.
Right. So,
first number 1 ranking in 40 years, I think it was.
I believe it was 40 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then with, 1:43 left to go, Tennessee needed to get in the field goal range, take 1 more point lead. Oh, wait, sorry. We almost missed the big one.
Oh, yeah.
The rain forced mistakes all games, drop balls, poor throws, missed field goals, and soggy turf. With 1:47 left, quarterback Clint Stoner, who just smoked a big one on the bench, dropped back, got his legs tangled with an offensive lineman, stumbled, and then fumbled the football right into the hands of defensive lineman Billy Ratliff. I forgot that name until I started researching.
Billy Ratliff.
And with 1:43 go, we take over. Henry touches the ball 5 times, finishes the game with 197 yards rushing on 32 attempts, including a touchdown. It came with less than a minute left. The Vols take a knee on the point after and win. 28-24 Vols.
And all of us are going nuts. Ape shit. I love that word. It's one of the words you don't have to tell anybody what that means.
Yeah.
You just know ape shit.
So,
so is Stoner there, Bill Buckner?
Probably.
Say so. Yeah, you're going to have some Arkansas fans pissed. You won't say their basketball coach's name right either now. So
no, Calamari.
Yeah.
You like that? I mean, it had to be. Who did they have left on their schedule? Do you know? Yeah,
they are undefeated, so they come out of that 8-1, and then they go and get beat by Mississippi State. They're 9-2, and then they go and beat. I forget who it was. You said it. I looked at earlier. Okay, so they go into the bowl game and play Michigan. Arkansas does, and Tom Brady beats them.
That's right.
Yep. They ended up 9-3. So after I guess they just, that Mississippi State game was the nail in the coffin, I guess.
Yeah. And this is the classic time where, in most of the years, real football fans, real UT fans, could say that they missed. That we could say for the last 20 years, this is where we missed a Fulmer, because we were usually, more than likely, we were usually playing our best ball in October, and that old slogan, they remember from what you do in November.
That's right.
And he was, he had the highest winning percentage of active coaches because of November scheduling and wins. So, that's where we're at. We're coming down the stretch, coming into that first week of October now. And there's SEC play is going to be ramped up. It's going to be crazy. But I think
world and baseball playoffs, and this is the time I love October.
Absolutely.
Golly, man.
Only thing better than October is like
April.
Yeah.
Masters opening
day, crappie, the stripes are hitting. Just Final Four.
Oh yeah.
The tournament, all that happens right there. So this is a magical time of year. What'd you think about your cigar?
Man, I'm gonna smoke it till it burns my fingers. I tell you what, these are about $4 a piece.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's a great budget
and
stick. Good for winter.
And I've had this one a while. I don't remember when you gave it to me. I've had it a while.
It's probably a year old.
It's a flavor bomb, man. Get all this like raisiny sweetness in the back when you retrohale, and it's got all this like light toasted pepper on the front. It's this right here. There will be a box about of these fairly soon, because that is hour.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a great little smoke, and you could probably smoke it a little faster if you were out.
Yeah.
But this Cloud Hopper was really good. It's not got the best final third. At Light Up, I was getting a lot of nuttiness, just nutty. And then some creamy smoke texture, which is always really nice. And little spice, kind of like a mix between like a gingerbread and I don't ever know how to describe that Corojo spice. I don't know. It's got to fall somewhere in baking spices, but that typical Corojo flavor. But it's getting a little bitter towards the end.
Yeah, it's not sweet, but it's not bitter either. It's like an in between savory and sweet kind of thing.
And the other thing too that I'm gonna try really hard not to do is, unless you've got friends who's bought these. You're not going to ever get these again. This was like a first edition,
right?
A limited edition thing. So that's not really fair, but that's the one I wanted to smoke today. But,
and these are readily available. This is a standard edition thing.
I would recommend you buying a box of those. Like I said, if you didn't do nothing but just stuff your humidor, you want to keep your humidors about 3/4 of the way full, at least. No less than half, and especially with wintertime coming, that'll help you maintain your and summertime too. I mean, you got to have filler, and but those are great, and they're just good little treat cigars.
Oh man,
when you just want a nice little smoke, you got a lot of time.
It feels like a cigarillo.
You don't have to worry about
but it smokes like a big cigar.
Yeah.
Lots of smoke. I forgot to say, it just billows. Did you see how much it smoked?
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, it's like very Drew Estate-ish in that form or that manner, just everywhere. But man, it's really good. And I don't really usually like 40 ring gauge stuff. Not much.
And something we were going to start doing too, is like when we do these final thoughts on our cigars that we're smoking through the podcast, is it worth a single? Is it worth buying a 5-pack? Is it worth buying a 10-pack? Or is it worth a box? I think they're box worthy, but I would definitely say anybody that's just, if you're kind of new to the game and you're just trying things, get you a 10-pack of those.
Well,
or buy a box.
a box
Like I
is
said.
$75.
Yeah, I
a
mean
box.
they're very, very
that
reasonable.
for these.
And again, you got something to give your buddies. You got something to help you keep your RH and keep your humidity right in your humidors, and
you got something you can smoke any time of day. That wasn't very strong.
yeah.
That was.
And if
medium.
you find the ones in the broadleaf wrapper, they're going to be a little sweeter. They're going to be a little bit more. They're going to have a little different profile on them, but just as good. I think we covered it. Did we leave anything out?
No. I just on back on the game for a second. I just if we get beat on some bullshit like that, we can't be too upset about it. I mean, because we're due. We're kind of in Arkansas's place, sort of, because newer coach, high expectations, undefeated, that kind of thing. I mentioned replay, but
and their head coach was a offensive line coach here for a little while. Yeah.
And
Matthews, is that his name? I
think it is Matthews. And this, this play doesn't happen today because if you're in possession of the ball and it touches the ground, it's dead.
Right.
And which he was, but no replay. So a lot of things happened in that season to get us there. It's the first season of the BCS too. We were the first BCS champion. It was. Do you remember what bowl game it was?
Yeah, Fiesta Bowl.
Yep.
And do you remember the other piece of luck that we got?
Well, yeah, their quarterback was hurt.
Who was?
Heisman Trophy winner.
Chris Winkie.
That's right. 47 years old.
Yeah.
And then their second quarterback
12th-year senior.
Yeah, 12th-year senior. And their second quarterback got hurt, so we played their third-string quarterback.
Yeah.
Guess what else came out for that Fiesta Bowl? What chip came out for? There's your trivia question.
Oh.
I remember eating them.
Well, it was definitely Tostito brand, but
which is Frito-Lay,
chili lime or something like that.
Hint of lime Tostitos came out for the 98 Fiesta Bowl.
I was close
during that era, and I remember I think they had come out. That was the same year that McGuire and them were going for the home run race.
Yeah,
same year. It's a big year in sports.
Big year in sports.
Yeah,
big year in UT history. Hey, listen. Go
John
Vols.
Ward's last year.
John Ward's last year went out as a national champion.
Yep.
God bless John Ward. Listen, go Vols, have fun. Is there any other games you're interested in watching today? Just real quick before we wrap it all up.
Well, the Ole Miss and had on tip
South
Carolina game, yes, and then that Texas A&M Missouri game.
I'd like to see Texas A&M beat.
Well, it's at Texas A&M, right?
And hey,
that matters.
It matters. That's a tough place to play.
Home of the 12th man.
I've been there, man, and it's the damnedest thing you ever seen. I swear to you. Well, folks, go Vols. Don't drink too much Big Orange Kool-Aid. Don't get your expectations up. And, after all, we all want to see UT win, but it's just a damn ball game, So, again, go Vols. That's it. That's that. I think we covered it all. Hope you all enjoyed this special edition. You want to do another one?
Absolutely.
Folks, you heard it here first. Be kind. Costs nothing to be kind to folks. Anybody can be an asshole, but there's always a price to be paid for cruelty. And life's too short to smoke bad cigars. One more for the good guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man, well, he's hard to find.